Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I got today, and I think I'm gonna make a little haul video or something. Just gonna show off what most of this month's budget went to, because this is about 2/3 of it. And yeah, so this is mainly the reason why there was no dry ice this month. Not that I could have drawn ice very well without it, because at least this one I need, because this is a thermometer for the LN2 pod over here. And yeah, let's quickly go through everything I got. So, this is a thermometer. This very much has the Elmo Labs logo on it, so most of the stuff, everything on the mousepad is from Elmo Labs. So this is a K-type thermocouple thermometer. I also got two K-type thermocouples, but I also, since I got this Kingpin Cooling Tech 9 Fat used, it already has a thermocouple attached to it, which is reading the LN2 pod temperature. And I can just very quickly demonstrate this. So I plug this in, turn this on, and we see my room temperature is about 22.6 degrees because there's nothing in this pot. So yeah, so let's turn this off again. And yeah, I have two more probes. I only really needed one, but I have one replacement now, because I do wanna, need one on the pot, and then I want one behind the core on the card to see how well my thermoconductivity is. So that's what one of these two probes is for. That's also why this has two connections, because you have one probe for your pod, another one for your GPU. And yeah, so this is a very handy thermometer. I didn't have one before, so I just picked this up. Doesn't come with batteries. Had to find these. Luckily I had some. But yeah, so I have a way of knowing how warm or cold my card is now, because most graphics cards just have their temperature sensors die or bug out below 0 degrees. They just always show 0, or even worse, some of them just show 200 and something. Which, yeah, the reading is kind of useless, so you want a thermometer like this to know how warm or cold your thing is running. So then we have a whole bunch of potentiometers, and these one have a little knob on them, so you don't need a screwdriver to turn these. Very handy. I was just about to run out of potentiometers, but now I have a whole lot of them, and they're also easier to adjust because I need no screwdriver for them anymore. And then we come to the very thing that I actually went to Elmo Labs for. This little thing is an EVC2SX. This costs about 30 bucks, or 30, was it US dollars or euros? I don't remember. I just know the total order was about 90 euros. So this is 29 either US dollars or euros. This was 40. I think this was 15. I think this was also 15. And yeah, so this thing, if you don't know it, this is basically what brings your volt mods to the next level. So how I've been doing volt mods for now is I just get one of these, I find the feedback pin of a PWM controller, I get the right resistance potentiometer. If you want to know how volt mods work, I have a video on that specifically. Yeah, I connect just that and I skew the feedback circuit to get voltage control. Now this thing is that, but a lot more elegant. So this little board can control a whole bunch of PWM controllers through several interfaces. You can kind of see it here on the board. I don't know if you can read it, but it says URAT1, I2C2, I2C1, SRC1, SRC2, SRC3, SPI1. I think that, yeah, that's for a little screen add-on that I don't have. Yeah, so you can just connect this thing to the control interface of whatever PWM controller you want to mod, and then you can talk directly to the PWM controller. Like, you no longer connect a potentiometer and just make it think it's running at some voltage when in reality you get another. You can straight up talk to the PWM controller and say, I want this voltage, I want this LLC level, I want this overcurrent protection. It sort of still depends on how smart that controller is and how much control things it has. But yeah, this thing, just like you hook this up and you have full control over whatever voltage controller you have. And not just the one you connect to, you should have control over every single voltage controller using that interface on the card. So if you would hook this up to like a 3090, you would not just have control over vCore, you would also have control over uncore and memory, because all of them are on the same interface bus. Yeah, and the EVC2 comes with a couple accessories. So this is just a USB-C cable. I assume this is for power and also for interfacing with, like, you need to plug this into another PC to give it commands. These cables, like, they have a plug on one end and then empty wires on another end. So these just, you plug them into the headers and then you solder the other end to the card. And then you just have another yeah, bunch of wires with plugs on both ends. I don't know what these are for. But, well, you get them. And yeah, so Lumi also just got one of these and has yeah, showed this off on camera. The thing is, like, I don't really, well, I assume you just plug this into a PC, connect the right interface and solder onto the card, and then it just kind of works. But, well, I assume you would have at least to, like, download a software for this on the PC you put the controls into. But I don't exactly know how this works. If there's a manual, I'm gonna have to read that still. But yeah, this basically is for cards like my 780 Ti Matrix, which, if I was to volt mod that one with one of these, that controller, the ASP1212 on that card, does not really have a feedback pin. You would have to, like, cut a trace and then then modify the die sense with one of these. And, like, cutting traces is, like, something I would not like to do. So hooking this up to the controller and straight up telling it, hey, I want to get more vCore than 1.2 volts because that is what it's locked at. I can do that with this. Similar, my 7970 Lightning actually has a header for this. And I don't know if I can show that real quick. Probably not. No, there's a backplate. Yeah, I can't really show it. I don't want to take the card apart in the video. I don't want to make it longer than it has to be. But on this card there are some pre-made yeah, solder points where I can just solder to for specifically interfacing with the controller for using something like this. And there's other cards. I think a lot of modern Asus cards do this. I don't think my Matrix has a specific port for that, but like the 20 and 30 series and also 10 series Asus cards should all have a header for this thing specifically. Like, Elmer used to work at Asus. So, like, his stuff, of course, kind of works with Asus stuff the best. But, like, this works with everything because, like, the control interfaces are industry standard. They're not manufacturer specific. So yeah, this little thing is, assuming I get to, like, yeah, this is a lot of uncharted territory. Like, find feedback pin, solder to feedback pin, solder other end to ground is pretty easy. This is, like, very, very sophisticated and fancy. So, yeah. And then we come to the last thing you can't see because it's too big. So this is my Ursa PTC 70 75 watt soldering iron that I usually use for everything. Now this thing is fine for, like, making volt mods or soldering on capacitors. What it is not good for is... okay, I can't find that now. Attaching E-powers, like the E-power 5 that I have. Specifically the E-power 5. That one is a really, really big E-power with very heavy, like thermally heavy power planes. So this little 75 watt iron just isn't strong enough to melt the solder good enough to get a proper connection on big E-powers or big power planes. So, meet this guy. This is this is an Ursa 150S. As suggested by the name, this is a 150 watt iron. I think this is the same one that Buildzoid and Der Bauer use. I think both these soldering irons are the ones that Der Bauer use, because he has two. I think these are actually the exact same ones he uses. So yeah, and also Buildzoid uses this. Yeah, like it's a 150 watt iron. And that's basically everything you need to know about it. It just has a lot of power. Like, this is gonna solder, like, this thing is heavy. It's like, I don't know if it's a kilogram, but I guess it's close to it. So this thing is gonna make soldering E-powers a lot easier. And if you actually look at it, the tips of these two soldering irons are pretty similar. So this is a bigger tip than it came with, because the one it came with is very small and like has issues if you do anything other than soldering on volt mods and capacitors. With this one you can kinda solder bigger things, but not really. But yeah, like this tip is just about small enough to still get into a couple things, but it's too big to like solder multilayer ceramics, for example. And seeing that the new iron has a tip that's basically the same size means that, well, if I really just need to solder on something with 150 watts that's not an E-power, I can do that with this. But mostly this means that I can now move this soldering iron to the smaller tip it came with, and have the smaller one for more precise things where I don't need power, I just need precision. And then this one is just for everything else. So yeah. So this was 67 euros, I think. And they took so long to deliver it. I think I ordered this thing end of January or beginning of February. So they did not have this thing in stock. Though I have to say, I quoted this wrong in all the videos. I said 12th of March, but I rechecked. They actually told me you can estimate to get this thing on the 16th of April. Today is the 16th of April and I got this today. So, respect for getting the delivery date right, like 3 months before. But yeah. So, this is basically... Okay, the soldering iron is from a previous month's budget, but this is mostly what this month's budget went to. So, yeah. And, yeah, I mean, this is the stuff I got now. So, I just need to get dry ice now. Like, I have this stuff, which, well, it's called Milbenko Flüssiggummi. It's Plastidip, that's what it is. I use it to, like, secure wires I solder onto cards. Which is why I've already used a fair amount of it, because I've had this for a while. I might need to get a new one, but it's still about like half full. So I think it's enough to isolate one card, then strap the LN2 port to it, which you can see I did a test mount, and you can see I very much tightened one side more than the other. I actually had one mount that looked really good on it, but you can see like this side has much better contact than this side on this mount. So yeah, this is from a GK104, like this is a GTX 680 core. Yeah. Speaking of GTX 680, the E-powered 680, I said I was gonna rework. I did that rework. The new core E-power is fully soldered on. it is working. Like, essentially that card would be ready to bench, but just my luck, the card has an issue. And it's not an issue that has anything to do with the core E-Power. I don't know why, but that 680 just has its memory not work anymore. Like, you boot into Windows fine, it runs GPU-Z render test fine, but as soon as you start anything that's 3D, the card just either crashes instantly or artifacts so hard the entire system locks up and restarts. And I've tried Rising V-Core, I've tried underclocking the memory, nothing of that helps. You get always, like, you get the, at 500 MHz mem, you get the same result as at 3 GHz mem. And also at 1.7 volts, you get the same result as at 1.55 volts. I don't know what's wrong with that card. I did find one little blob of solder that I have overlooked that was bridging 2 little resistors next to one of the memory modules. I removed that and made the card go a little bit more stable, but a little bit more stable is not. It works. It still very much cannot run anything 3D. Like, it straight up won't launch Firestrike. It shows the loading screen and then it just goes instantly to test run was cancelled by user. It does run Valley and Heaven, but artifacts like hell and crashes the entire system after 20 seconds. So, yeah. Like, I was talking to a couple other people about this, and basically the working theory is that when that blob of solder was on those 2 resistors, it might have messed up something with the memory module and it's now permanently, like, damaged. I hope that this isn't the case, but there's not really a lot of alternatives left. I very thoroughly looked at the PCB, there's no more solder blobs on there that bridge anything. I even washed the card. Like, washing something that has an E-Power on it is very annoying. Like, I even washed the card and, like, made sure it's really completely clean. Like, even got my all the flux I could get off the card. I reattached the memory E-Power twice. And yeah, like, I even tried different BIOSes on the card. It's just... Yesterday and today was a really nice day. Because I also got... yeah, one thing I was talking about, like, I did 2 live streams in the past. And they are very, very bad. Mostly because my upload speed is 1 Mbit. That's 100 kilobytes per second for the entire household of upload. You just can't live stream with that. And yesterday I got the note that, hey, our street is getting glass fiber optic cables, which means that we could technically have up to 1 gigabit internet, which would mean that maybe we're gonna get like 100 Mbits of upstream, which is literally 100 times better than what I have now. So, yeah, considering that, and the E-Power on the core working out really great, because it's no longer dropping nearly as much voltage as it was before, but the card drops dead. And this also kind of ruins this day, even though I just got a whole bunch of new things to play with. But yeah. Most annoying part is this isn't the first time this happened. I E-powered a GTX 580 before. I think I never showed that on camera, but I E-powered a 580 with the E-Power 5 and this soldering iron, which is when I decided that I need a better one. And that card had the exact same problem. Core was working great, like no complaints whatsoever, but the memory just wouldn't run anything. Like, I don't know. It's 2 cards have had this issue and I still don't know what causes it. It's like, this is screwing up my success rate with E-Powers, because the actual E-Power part of it works fine. The voltage delivery is completely what it should be, but the memory just doesn't want to work. It just refuses to work. And it's not like the memory E-Power was optional on this card. This 680 had a dead memory rail. This was the entire reason why I E-Powered it in the first place, but like hooking up an E-Power to memory and then leaving core stock was kind of a bad idea in my opinion, so I E-Powered that one as well. And yeah, like I am upset. Let's say that. I am just upset. Because like, I ePowered a 970. That was fine. I ePowered a 460. That was fine. I ePowered the 680 the first time. That ran pretty poorly, but at least it worked. And then I had that 580. That just never worked. And now the 680 also just doesn't want to run anymore. Like, if anyone has any idea what could happen to the memory, I have no idea. So please tell me if you have any idea what problem I could have. Because, like, it's... like, voltage delivery is fine. There is no debris on the card. It's completely clean. I have run mats on it several times with different amounts of memory tested each time. I never got any problems. It always passed completely fine. But it just won't run anything. Won't even launch Firestrike. Like, the funny thing is, it actually passed Ice Storm. But any other 3D Mark tests, it just won't launch. Like, it just won't. Which kind of adheres to my working theory of that memory module being dead. Because, you're gonna see a mutilated corpse of the 670 I once had. This is basically the same PCB that 680 has, by the way. So this memory chip, specifically these two little resistors right next to the memory chip, were bridged together. And the thing is, so assuming that the card fills up the memory chips going from here to here, whenever I was around 1 GB of memory used, it started to artifact. And these are 2 gigabit modules, so these are 256 megabytes each. So 256, 512, whatever comes after that, and then 1 gigabyte. So as soon as I go over 750 megahertz-ish, that's still this memory module, but if I go over that, and then up to 1 gigabyte, it's using this memory module, like assuming it fills up the memory like this, and not all at the same time, but I think it fills up the memory like this. As soon as this memory module is being hit, because Ice Storm only uses about 500 megabytes of memory. Everything else used more than that. Everything else was using about around 900 megabytes. So this memory module is being used in those tests, but not in Ice Storm. And yeah, the other Ice Storm is passing, not even artifacting, and this one just won't. So I might have to replace this memory module on the 680. Problem is, I don't have replacements. I can't just use modules of these because these modules are Samsung D-Die. The 680 has Hynix AFR. I could steal some AFR from that 780 I tried to repair and never actually managed to repair because it had so many issues all at once. I can fix one issue but not 5. That one has AFR, but the thing is, I strongly suspect that one of the issues it had was a lot of dead memory chips because the memory VRM was shorted from 12 volts to memory. And when I run mats on it, pretty much all the memory chips had errors. So that could have been the core, or it could have been just the memory being dead. So if I steal an AFR module of that 780 and put it on the 680, I might have the same problem again. But yeah, I might just try swapping memory modules with that card and then use it on this card, because this one also has, I have 2 dead memory modules that are also Hynix AFR. Funny thing, how's that? It's just that these are higher bin than the one on the 780, so if I use the memory modules from the 780, this one will lose OC headroom. Because, like, this one comes 3.5 GHz stock. 3.5 is about the maximum overclock I see on 780s with AFR on average, so yeah, this will quite literally run at max speed. It can stock. Oh yeah, enough rambling about dead cards. This was mainly about new stuff. New stuff means new motivation and new possibilities, especially this one. This is the biggest new possibility I've ever had, I think. Since getting my soldering iron, because I didn't have one. Yeah. So, I hope this will result in a lot of nice things. I think, since I have this, and since I'm kind of a cooling freak, like I really like messing with cooling solutions. I might actually use this, because like that K-type, you can put them in anyway. I might actually do some VRM thermal testing on some cards. Like testing how hot a GTX 480 or 580 reference VRM gets, or a 780 reference VRM. Because if I have precise temperature readings, then I can actually figure out, oh hey, this MOSFET is about that temperature and it should be able to handle this much current. That would be very interesting to do. Just figuring out how hot some VRMs run. That might be a thing that I'm gonna do. Yeah. And yeah, so I'm gonna figure out how to use this thing. If this works with the 780 Ti matrix, I think you can be pretty sure I'm gonna run that card, because the 780 Ti matrix has the best memory of all my all my Kepler cards. My 980 Ti was better, but that's an aswell. So yeah, my 780 Ti matrix has the best memory of all my Kepler cards. It doesn't have the best core, but the thing is it's stuck at 1.2 volts, whereas pretty much every other card I can get up to 1.3 by just using the MS Afterburner thing. So yeah, the core might improve a lot if I just give it more voltage. And also it has a power limit thing, because I think it's limited to 310 watts. And I've tried flashing a custom BIOS to it, but it just kind of didn't work. Like, I couldn't flash a BIOS to that card, it always just errored out. So I might just remove the i93221 and just disable the power limit in hardware, and then it's gone. But if this thing works with the 780 Ti matrix, like, that card has a VRM that you don't have to worry about, like, ever. It also has a memory heating system. Like, that, okay, like, the card has Hynix BFR, 2 gigabit BFR modules. It's the only BFR card I have. I have a 1 gigabit BFR card, which is a 560, and that one also does really well on memory. But yeah, my 780 Ti matrix is Hynix BFR. I don't know if that has negative scaling with colder temperatures at some point. So the memory heater might be useful, it might not be. Are we really going to 30 minutes now? Wow. The video practically ended at like 15 minutes. After that I just rambled. Yeah. But like, if this thing can interface with the ASP1212, I'm gonna run the 780 Ti matrix so much. I really wanted to run that card for a long time, and I was always just limited by, yeah, I can't get more voltage in power limit BIOS side, and modifying it on hardware level would require me to cut a trace, and that's just something I don't want to get into, because I like to think that I could restore my modded cards to stock, which, well, I could, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen. So, yeah. Oh, also, one card I just thought about. Oh, remember this thing? That's my 7950, as well, I've written on it. This thing has an overcurrent protection problem, because you can go to up to 1.3 volts just like that, but if you, like, that just basically barely scrapes by the overcurrent protection. If you put anything more than 1.3 volts, the overcurrent protection kicks in. Actually, that's it. I think that's it. I think this connector is what you're looking for. I think that's exactly what you're looking for. I think this is, you just plug the EVC2SX into that thing and you talk to the CHL822HG on this. And depending on where the, like, if the PWM controller can disable the overcurrent protection, I'm gonna be able to do that. And then, yeah, I can bench this, because this thing, from what I can tell, is a really good core. And like the VRM, this is the one where I modified the VRM, where like it came with one low side and I added a second low side to each phase. So it doesn't quite have double the current capability now, because I used a different model of MOSFET, but I still used a pretty capable one. So I didn't quite double, I like 1.5x'd the current capability of this VRM. Like, we don't really have to worry about the VRM on this thing. It's gonna run really fine. Oh bad, what did I write on this thing? Yeah, but this card is gonna be fun if the EVC2SX can talk. I might actually just test the EVC2SX with this one if I can disable the overcurrent protection on this one. I might actually run this on dry ice. This might be one of the cards I run with dry ice because like the VRM should be fine. 7950s don't pull that much power. And this is like on a 6 phase, like a modded one. The output fit is really, this is it's a reference AMD card. Reference AMD cards are great. I might just run this one. Like, I really wanted to run this for a while, but I was always just stopped by the overcurrent protection. Like, and now you can disable it through the BIOS. But every time I tried getting a custom BIOS for this card, I kind of failed somehow, like either because I couldn't find a software for it, or just because the software I used didn't work, or because I couldn't flash it. If the EVC2SX can just tell the controller, yeah, that current limit, like, yeah, just kind of ignore that. Yeah. That would be great. I also need to memory timing mod this, because it's still in the stock straps. So, I might actually run this one. This card has been pretty fun so far. It's just like overcurrent protection at 1.3 volts. Which is like a thing with 7950s. Like, I think all of the 7950s have this, which is mostly why I went for 7970s. Like, okay, man, this is a Lightning, but like, I would have taken a reference 7972 because those don't have the overcurrent protection problem. So, yeah. We are at over 30 minutes now. And basically, the second half of the video was just me rambling about random things. So, sorry for wasting your time this much. I just like to talk when I get excited. So, yeah. Let's hope you're going to see some of this in action soon. Because, like, this thing, this little tiny thing, can do so much for you. So, yeah. That's the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.